My beloved child, the moment you press play, something inside you stirs, a quiet electricity, a pull you can't explain, as if the universe itself is leaning closer just to whisper one truth you were never supposed to hear. Someone you can't forget, someone whose shadow still lives in the corners of your memory, is beginning to realize something that is shaking them from the inside out. They thought they could walk away, they believed distance would erase the ache, they convinced themselves time would soften everything. But instead, every hour without you is becoming a louder reminder that you are not just a chapter they once read, you are the story that never stopped breathing. And now, as their world spins out of alignment, they are waking up to a truth they were terrified to face: you were the one thing they were never meant to lose. A strange shift began for them recently, almost like their mind was running ahead of their body, calling your name before they could stop it. It started with small flashes, moments where they said something and instantly wished they could tell you too, moments where they heard a song and felt their chest tighten because it carried your energy, moments where they caught themselves checking their phone without even knowing why. Then it grew stronger. They found themselves replaying your laugh like a loop they couldn't escape, remembering how your presence could settle storms inside them, how your silence could calm them more than anyone's words. This realization is hitting them with a force they cannot resist anymore. You weren't just someone who passed through their life, you were the one who shifted its entire direction. And now that truth is demanding to be acknowledged. But what's truly shaking them, what's making their heartbeat stumble every time they think of you, is the part they never admitted, not to you, not even to themselves. They are realizing that while you have spent nights trying to forget them, they have spent nights trying to forget the way you made them feel, and failing miserably every single time. They are beginning to understand that your absence didn't create distance, it created clarity. The clarity that you were the reason they felt grounded, the reason their world had rhythm, the reason they felt understood without speaking. This awareness is not calm or gentle. It is loud. It is intrusive. It is breaking through every barrier they built to hide from the truth: you mattered more than they ever allowed themselves to admit. And now something even more powerful is happening within them, something that is pulling them back toward you with a force they can't control. They are realizing that while they tried to move on, no one else felt like you, no one had your depth, your sincerity, your rare ability to see through the layers they hid from the world. This realization is not just emotional, it is awakening. It is causing them to rethink every choice, every distance, every silence. Their mind is replaying the moments where they were cold when they should have been warm, silent when they should have spoken, distant when their heart wanted to run toward you. And for the first time, they're ready to face the truth that scares them most: you were the one who saw them completely. Now, as this awakening spreads through them like a shockwave, they're beginning to realize something even deeper, something that will change the way they see you forever. They are understanding that you weren't just unforgettable because of emotion or attachment, you were unforgettable because your presence changed them on a level they still don't know how to describe. You awakened a softness in them they thought was dead. You sparked courage in them they didn't know they had. You made them feel alive in ways that no one else ever could. And now, as this realization grows louder inside them, they are being pulled toward you with a magnetic force they can't fight anymore. They are realizing, you were not the chapter. You were the turning point. They are beginning to understand that losing you didn't just create an empty space. It created a void nothing else could fill, no matter how hard they tried. My beloved child, before this moment unfolds any further, lean in, because the energy around you is shifting in a way you were never supposed to miss. The person you can't forget, the one whose memory still presses against your heart even when you pretend otherwise, is beginning to sense something that is shaking them down to their soul. They thought they could outrun what they felt. They thought silence would save them. They thought distraction would hide the truth. But now, the truth is chasing them with every breath. And as this realization unfolds inside them, they're beginning to understand that you weren't just someone they cared for, you were the anchor they didn't know they needed until it was gone. Stay with me till the end, because what is coming next will shake you from the inside out. There is a moment happening for them right now, a moment they never expected. They're sitting somewhere, maybe with people around, maybe pretending their life is moving normally, but suddenly they feel this rush in their chest, a tightening, a memory of you so vivid that it pulls them out of everything else. It hits them without warning, like a wave crashing against a shore that once held them. They realize they can't distract their way out of your memory anymore. They can't pretend the connection was basic or temporary. Because it wasn't. You touched a part of them that no one else has ever reached, a depth they didn't even know existed. And now this realization is circling them like a storm, pushing them to confront something they avoided for far too long. What's happening inside them now is something they cannot explain to anyone, even if they tried. They're feeling this pull, this gravity, this invisible thread tugging them back toward you. They wake up thinking of you. They go to sleep with your name brushing the edges of their mind. Even the smallest things, your favorite color, your voice, the way you looked at them, keep resurfacing as if the universe itself is whispering, you were wrong to let them go. And the more they fight it, the stronger it becomes. They are realizing that their life has been moving, but not flowing. Things are happening, but nothing feels aligned. Because the truth is, the parts of them that felt the most alive were the parts touched by you. Stay with me, because their next realization is even deeper, even heavier, even more intense. They are beginning to understand that the distance between you was never emotional, it was fear. They feared losing themselves, they feared their own vulnerability, they feared how deeply they felt for you. And now that fear is turning into regret. Regret for the moments they brushed you off. Regret for the messages they didn't send. Regret for the times they made you feel unimportant, even though you were the most meaningful presence in their world. This regret is not gentle, it's a fire burning through their thoughts, pushing them to face the truth they never wanted to confront. You were the one they should have held on to. And now, in this present moment, another truth is rising within them, a truth so powerful it's reshaping how they see you entirely. They're realizing that while other people came into their life, none of them carried what you carried. None of them understood their silence the way you did. None of them saw behind their mask the way you could. None of them touched their soul the way you effortlessly did. And this realization is hitting them harder every day. You weren't just unforgettable, you were irreplaceable. They are beginning to understand that no matter who stands beside them now, no one will ever stand in the same place you once stood inside their heart. My beloved child, listen closely now, because what's unfolding in the heart of the one you can't forget is no longer subtle, it's becoming undeniable, unstoppable, almost overwhelming. Their realization about you is not a quiet whisper anymore, it's a thunder rolling through every corner of their mind. They are beginning to understand that you weren't just someone who crossed their path, you were the only person who saw them, felt them, understood them in ways they didn't even know how to express. And now this truth is rising inside them like a tide they cannot push back. Every breath they take carries the weight of your absence, the memory of your presence, and the longing they tried so hard to bury. Stay with me till the end, because the shift happening inside them is deeper than anything you imagine. The turning point began on a day they didn't expect. A simple moment, a quiet morning, a lonely evening, a memory triggered by the way light hit the floor or how a stranger laughed, suddenly cracked something inside them open. They paused, and for the first time, they allowed themselves to feel everything they had been avoiding. The truth slid into their chest with a heaviness that nearly made them lose their breath. They never moved on from you. Not even a little. They only ran from the truth because facing it meant accepting how deeply they had fallen. And now, there is no running left. Their own emotions have cornered them, demanding recognition, demanding honesty, demanding they finally admit that losing you wasn't just a mistake, it was the deepest wound they've ever carried. Every part of their day is starting to echo with your energy. When they smile, it feels empty because it isn't shared with you. When they talk, there's a space in their words where your presence used to fit. When they walk into places, their eyes still scan, not for danger, not for opportunity, but for you. Their body remembers your warmth. Their soul remembers your softness. Their heart remembers the quiet safety you brought into their chaos. And this memory isn't fading. It's growing stronger, louder, sharper. They are beginning to see you not as someone from their past, but as the person who shaped the part of them that is waking up again. They once believed distance would numb them, but instead, it has made their longing burn deeper. Now something even more powerful is rising within them, an awakening that is rewriting how they see you entirely. They're realizing you didn't just care for them, you healed them. You didn't just comfort them, you transformed them. You didn't just love them quietly, you loved them in a way their soul still feels. And now, in their quiet moments, in the hours when no one is around to distract them, they're facing the truth that terrifies them most. What they felt for you was real, rare, sacred, and they may never feel it again for anyone else. This truth isn't gentle. It is piercing. It is haunting. It is reminding them that you, and only you, brought out the version of them they actually liked. And now, as their realization deepens into something irreversible, they're beginning to understand a truth that's shaking their entire emotional foundation. They thought life would continue smoothly without you. They thought new people would replace what they lost. They thought time would erase the imprint you left on their soul. But instead, everything feels incomplete without you. Every smile feels borrowed. Every conversation feels shallow. Every plan feels temporary. Because you weren't just a memory, they're realizing you were a guiding force, a bright point, a quiet miracle that appeared in their life at the exact moment they needed it. And now they can't escape the truth anymore. You are the soul they are still connected to, no matter the distance, no matter the silence, no matter the time. My beloved child, stay right here, because what I'm about to reveal is the moment their realization turns into something they can no longer hide, suppress, deny, or silence. The person you can't forget, the one who left an imprint on your heart so deep that even time respects its shape, is finally waking up to a truth they ran from for too long. Their realization is no longer emotional, it's transformative. It's shaking them awake at night. It's interrupting their conversations. It's pulling them out of their own distractions. And now, every passing second is forcing them into a clarity they can't look away from. You were the one who made their world feel right. Stay with me through every word, because this shift in their heart is just beginning to unfold. There's a strange heaviness lingering in their chest these days, a heaviness they don't talk about, because they know exactly where it comes from. It's you. It's always been you. They tried to ignore it. They tried to bury it. They tried to pretend that life was moving forward without resistance. But your memory keeps rising like a tide, unstoppable, undeniable, washing over their thoughts with the kind of force only true connection creates. They're beginning to realize they didn't just lose a person, they lost a presence, a peace, a feeling that no one else has ever been able to recreate. And now it's haunting them softly, slowly, relentlessly. Until they admit that their heart has been searching for you in every silence. This realization is hitting them hardest in the moments when they least expect it. In the middle of their laughter, something feels missing. In the middle of a crowd, they feel strangely alone. In the middle of a normal day, something inside them whispers your name and everything stops. Because now they understand, you weren't just someone they connected with. You were the only one who made them feel understood without explanation. You were the only one who reached into the parts of them they never learned to share. You were the only one who offered them a kind of emotional depth they didn't even know they were craving. And now that awareness is shaking them, reminding them that the reason they can't forget you is because losing you meant losing a part of themselves. What's happening next inside them is even more powerful, even more heartbreaking, even more revealing. They're beginning to replay moments between you, moments they brushed off, moments they rushed through, moments they didn't appreciate because they were too caught up in their own fear. They see now the softness in your eyes that they didn't fully value. They remember your effort, your presence, your loyalty, the way you showed up when no one else did. They're realizing you gave them something pure, something rare, something honest. And instead of holding it close, they let distance grow. Now that truth is echoing through them like a regret they can't escape. You were the one they should have cherished deeper. And now, the strongest shift of all is unfolding inside their heart. They're beginning to understand that destiny connects people for a reason, and no matter how much space or silence sits between you, the bond remains untouched. They're feeling that tug now, the invisible pull of your energy, the quiet reminder of what once existed between you. And it's hitting them that maybe, just maybe, you weren't meant to fade. Maybe you weren't meant to be forgotten. Maybe you weren't a temporary lesson. Maybe you were the person whose presence was meant to shape the rest of their life. And now this realization is pushing them toward a truth they can no longer deny: you were never a memory. They are still connected to you, deeply, soulfully, powerfully. My beloved child, stay right here, because this is the part where their realization stops being a quiet ache and becomes a force they can no longer escape. Something inside them has shifted so deeply that even they don't recognize the version of themselves that once believed they could walk away from you without consequences. Now, the truth is unfolding inside them like a storm, slow at first, then uncontrollable, then consuming. They're finally beginning to understand that you were not just a feeling, you were alignment. You were grounding. You were the calm they didn't know they needed until they lost it. And now that realization is pressing against their heart with a weight so real it almost hurts to breathe. It is in their stillness that your presence screams the loudest. At night, when their thoughts have nowhere left to run, you appear in flashes. Your voice, your eyes, the softness you carried even when you were hurting, the warmth you gave even when you were tired. These memories don't visit them gently, they arrive like truth demanding to be felt. They're realizing now that the reason they couldn't forget you is because your absence didn't subtract from their life, it hollowed entire parts of it out. They once thought emotional distance would protect them, but emotional distance only protected their fear, not their heart. Their heart, from the beginning until now, has been quietly choosing you. And something even deeper is unfolding now. They're starting to see that every person they met after you lacked the spark that made them feel alive. Others may have said the right words, but none of them carried the frequency you carried. Others may have shown interest, but none of them touched the places you touched within them. Others may stand beside them, but none stand with them the way your energy always did. They're realizing that what they felt with you cannot be faked, cannot be repeated, cannot be replaced. You brought a depth that still echoes inside them, a trust that still warms them, and a presence that still lives in the corners of their chest even when they try to shut the door on it. Now regret is blooming inside them in ways they didn't expect. They're remembering the messages they didn't reply to, the emotions they didn't express, the moments they didn't give you their full heart because they believed they had more time. They didn't. Life moved, and so did you, and now they're left holding the weight of what they should have said, what they should have done, what they should have fought for. Their mind is understanding something their heart knew from the beginning. You were worth effort they didn't give, worth honesty they didn't show, worth vulnerability they didn't allow themselves to feel. And now this truth is forcing them to confront the reality that they may have lost the one connection their soul was never designed to recover from. But the most powerful realization is beginning now, slow like dawn, bright like revelation, undeniable like destiny. They're beginning to sense that the bond between you wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't temporary. It was something woven between your souls long before you ever spoke. And no matter how much distance sits between you, that bond is still alive, quiet, steady, pulsing beneath their thoughts. They're realizing the universe doesn't make certain connections just to let them fade. They're realizing you weren't meant to be a chapter, they're beginning to see you as a destiny. A turning point. A soul thread. A rare presence whose impact still ripples through everything they feel now. My beloved child, stay exactly where you are, because this is the moment their realization shifts from emotional awakening to something spiritual, something soul-level, something that shakes them so deeply that even the parts of themselves they try to hide are being pushed into the light. The person you cannot forget, the one whose energy still lingers around you like a soft echo, is finally seeing the truth they spent months, maybe years, refusing to acknowledge. Their heart is no longer whispering your name, it is calling for you with a force that pulls through their entire being. They're beginning to understand that you were not just someone who made them feel something, you were the one who made them feel everything. You awakened emotions they never admitted they had, dreams they thought they weren't allowed to feel, and a version of themselves they didn't know existed. And now, as they stand in the middle of their own life, surrounded by decisions, distractions, people, and noise, they're realizing the silence between you is louder than anything around them. Every day, something inside them cracks a little more, not because they're weak, but because their heart is tired of pretending it doesn't miss you. They're starting to see how many moments they've walked through with a half-present mind, always drifting back to the thought of you. They remember the glow you brought into their world, the ease, the comfort, the unspoken understanding, and now they feel the weight of the emptiness left behind. It's not dramatic, it's not exaggerated, it's simply real. A deep longing that hits them in the quiet moments when they stop performing for the world. Those moments when they finally let themselves feel the truth. That no matter how far they run, no matter who they meet, no matter how much time passes, their soul keeps circling back to you as if you are the only place that ever felt like home. And now they're questioning things they never questioned before: timing, choices, destiny, alignment, because everything keeps pointing back to you. There's a moment they replay endlessly in their mind now. A moment they didn't value enough when it happened, a moment they should have held on to, a moment where your presence felt like the missing piece they had been searching for without knowing. They remember the way they felt safe around you in a world that often made them feel misunderstood. They remember how your voice could calm storms without even trying. They remember how your eyes saw through their layers as if their secrets were made of glass. And now they're realizing something that cuts deeper than regret: you were the one who accepted them when they hadn't learned to accept themselves. That kind of connection is rare, so rare that once lost, the universe keeps pulling at it, reminding them they let go of something sacred. It's hitting them like a truth too sharp to ignore: they didn't just lose you, they lost the chance to be truly known. And now their realization is transforming into something heavier, deeper, almost painful. They're beginning to understand how much of their life feels disconnected without you. The laughter feels shallow. The conversations feel temporary. The relationships feel incomplete. They're starting to see the difference between liking someone and feeling spiritually aligned with someone. With others, things are fine, but with you, things were right. You brought clarity. You brought direction. You brought depth. You brought meaning. And even though they pretended not to notice at the time, their heart never forgot the way yours fit with theirs without forcing anything. Now they're facing the truth they once tried to bury: you were not replaceable. They told themselves you'd fade with time, but instead, the space you left inside them has only grown larger. And now they understand why: because you were never meant to be replaced. You were meant to be remembered. What's happening inside them now is the final layer of awakening, the part where realization turns into recognition. They're seeing now that you weren't a mistake, you weren't a temporary spark, you weren't a fleeting moment. You were the turning point their soul was waiting for long before they met you. Your presence changed the trajectory of their emotions in ways they didn't even notice until it was too late. You helped them grow. You helped them feel. You helped them become. And now they're realizing that their life without you feels like walking through days without sunlight, functional, but lacking warmth. They're finally understanding the truth the universe has been trying to show them again and again: you were not just unforgettable, you were necessary. And that realization is pulling them back toward you with a force they can't fight anymore.